topic of the day is balancing life, work, training, hobbies, etc., social life, etc. If you have anything to say about this, I'm trying not to read the chat as I go along because it distracts me and sends me off on a whole bunch of little rabbit holes. So just at me in the chat. I'll go up and read it after I'm done. And I love having stuff to respond to. So if you have anything to say or can relate with something, or you wanted to just elaborate or have me elaborate on something, just let me know after, or let me know now and I'll read it later for sure. I'll get to anything. I'll see the red text box from you mentioning me. So have at it. So I've been playing this game for well over 5 years now. It was 5 years in April, so like 5.5 years now. And up until this year, before the whole quarantine stuff, I've had just your average 40-hour-a-week job. You know, I was at the same job for 10 years actually, doing the same thing. You know, well, gradually working out from a crew worker to a manager, but I've always had a 40-hour-a-week job ever since I was responsible. You know, I don't shift jobs a lot. I stick with one. And I go all the way with it, just like I do kind of like anything else in my life. All my hobbies, I kind of just go for it all the way. And when I knew I wanted to take Street Fighter seriously, I would get home from work late and I would stay up late playing. I had already made the decision in my head, you know, let's get serious in this game. So I would get home from work late. I worked late shifts and I would get home and, you know, just play all night. But, you know, a long day at work, it makes it for a harder session, and so I would have crap sessions most of the time. And I think a lot of us probably have crap sessions most of the time, unfortunately. But also at this time, I was super into diet and exercise. So you can imagine, outside of going to the work and gym, I was never leaving my house. It was literally wake up, eat breakfast, go to the gym, eat lunch, go to work, get home, eat dinner, play Street Fighter. That was my life. That was my life for a long time. Yeah, I would play for like 4 hours a night. 4 or 6 hours a night, depending on how things are going. And so some point down the line, I thought, like, what if I make dinner right when I get home, go to bed, and wake up early to start playing? So that's when I started prioritizing Street Fighter over my work. Where I was like, it's more important for me now to get better at this game than it is for me to have all my focus power on work. I didn't want my fitness being compromised at all, so I still balanced that in the same way. I was still waking up and I was still going hard in the gym. But now I was getting up 6 to 8 hours before my work even started. So by the time I got to work, I barely existed. I had already done like 4 to 6 hours of Street Fighter when I woke up, then went to the gym, and then go to work. I was already gone. My brain was like literally halfway there. This was when I was regularly grading my days based on my performance. I was having like these daily letter grades for how well I thought I did during the day. Did I wake up right on time? Did I eat right? Did I play right? Which this is the one that always hindered my A days. I would have a lot of A days if it wasn't for this fucking particular factor. Did I exercise right? Did I have a good work day? Did I cook dinner right when I got home? Did I waste any time on my phone? These were all the things that I kind of based on, like how much time did I waste throughout the day? And everything else would be on point. Boom! Wake up right on time. Boom! Breakfast. Boom! Hit the gym, I used to go hard at the gym, boy. Right when I needed to do, boom! Eat lunch, boom! Put all my effort on at work, boom! But I always had B, C, D days just because of how shitty my sessions were. Everything would be pinpoint, and then I would scream and hate myself, sometimes like smacking myself over losing a game or just having like a bad snowball effect happen. And I found that to be such a weakness that I would knock my grade down a whole letter. You know, everything could be A+. And then here I am screaming and throwing my controller, and you're weak still. That's a B, bitch, or whatever. And to this day, this was 12 years ago that I started this lifestyle. Not that Street Fighter, but that I've been having this like routine lifestyle. I very rarely have A days. I could probably count on my hands how many A days I go to bed thinking, you just had an A day. This is relative. Maybe my C day is someone else's A day, and maybe to another, my A day is pathetic. Maybe to David Goggins, I'm not getting shit done. But in any case, I always make time for the things I want to do. I mean, now, since the quarantine, I'm unemployed and I have all the time in the world to do whatever the fuck I want to do. And I do not want to have this quarantine over without me saying, yeah, I took every opportunity I could to really take into full advantage what I have. Why am I not stepping up my streaming all the way? Why am I not trying to be the best player I can be? Why am I not maximizing this time I have when I've always wondered to myself, if only I didn't have to go to work, I could do this. Well, what the fuck is the excuse now? There is none. So you better step it up. And it's always something I wanted to do. I always knew in the back of my mind, I'm not going to say I was born to do something in particular, but nothing makes me more fulfilled than accomplishing all these mini goals throughout the day, that much of it includes almost battling my own demons through this virtual chess game that we have here that really brings out the worst in people. I don't blame the game for shit. Everything that this game brings out of you is you. And I always know that. I'm not yelling at myself and smacking myself around because of the game. That's because you have some demons to deal with, little boy. But then I started working morning shifts. And even when I started working morning shifts, I would still wake up an hour earlier, and I had to be at work at 6:30. This means I was waking up at 4:45. I used to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning just to get extra training in, just to get that extra hour. Because I just knew that in order to do something that other people are, to be as good in this game as I want to be better than others, you have to be willing to do things that other people are not willing to do. Are you willing to wake up an hour early before you get home, before you go to work, just to have that little extra edge? Are you willing to do Daigo 5-hour drills just for these little moments? If not, then who do you think you are? Or are you sure this is what you want? My diet has been relaxed. I still eat well, but guys, I used to be so rigid in my lifestyle. I would never switch anything that I was eating. I would eat so clean. I was eating chicken, broccoli, green beans, no soy sauce, rice. I used to eat it plain. I was so into my clean eating. I was so strong. I was just so rigid in that. So my exercise is not as intense as it used to be. I hear the music getting kind of loud. Let me turn this down a little bit. And my diet's a little bit easier. I don't sit there and eat plain chicken. I eat steak and I put a lot of seasoning and I use soy sauce and all that. And I've just relaxed that because you don't have infinite willpower in your head. You have to kind of level things out a little bit. We're not fucking machines at the end of the day, or maybe we are, but we're not good ones. We're not perfect ones, I should say. So finally, 12 years later of this lifestyle, I end up here streaming full time and finally tell myself I want to do what it takes to become a top player. And most importantly, I wanted to bring you guys along in that journey because it's just more fun that way. I don't see a whole lot of people showing so much of their journey to what it takes to become what it is that everyone thinks that they want to be. Whatever kind of Street Fighter player you want to be, as we all know, you kind of have to make the decision. That's the most important part about it. I still remember exactly what I said in my head when I decided to take this game serious. I want to be the entertainer. I want to do the stuff that makes people excited. I want people to have fun watching me. I want to be strong in and out of the game, like here and there. Is this music too fucking loud? Let me turn this down. Oh, there. It should be good for now. The goal itself of wanting to be an entertaining, exciting, fun player hasn't changed. The goal itself hasn't changed, but the magnitude has. Because to be a top player is to be a winning player, and there is nothing more entertaining than always finding a way to win. Landing demons and setups used to entertain me. Upsetting a good player in a ranked used to entertain me. Dash Demon, entertaining. But now I don't feel much unless I feel like I earned the win. I want the opponent to feel like they were outdone. I don't like when people feel weaseled out. I don't like when people feel not convinced. And that's on the opponent. I get that. But it's my goal to make sure I did what I could to make sure the opponent knows that I'm better than them. Or I bettered them. So the only way I'm going to continue playing this game is if I do my best to earn my wins. It doesn't drive me the same way to just like ranked or beat a particular person. You know, so you got to be smart and don't sacrifice things that will make your life substantially worse. You can make more time in your day with the right choices if it matters to you that much. I knew what mattered to me. I knew what I needed to do, and I always did it. But if you don't have the motivation, it's because you don't even know what you want to do. I mean, most of us, I would say, not me. I know what I want to do. I usually lump myself in this most of us category, but truly I know what I want to do. And if you don't know what you're doing, it's going to be a hard motivation to do it. You know, people have a hard time exercising because they don't have exercise goals. But what if, you know, those people who really badly want to lose 50 pounds or really badly want to be stronger or really badly just want to look buff or whatever, you can find motivation if it's something that you truly want. But not all of us truly want the things that we think we want. Maybe we want the idea of it, or we want the recognition, the likes, or I don't know what it is that you want it for, but it has to be real. It can't be some fucking project, you know? I gain motivation from lifestyle changes, not fucking projects. I'm not interested in 30-day abs. I'm not interested in race to this, race to that. I'm in it for the long haul in everything that I do. I'm always in it for the long haul, it seems like. I don't know if I do that on purpose. That's just the way it is. You know, is your goal worth compromising your well-being and your financial aspects and your social life, potential career paths? Or are these being compromised by what you want to do? And for those who want to be the best, maybe it is. Maybe it is worth people's well-being, you know? But you can find a way if you can find the motivation. And I would say maybe I'm above average in motivational push, because I've never had a concrete idea of what I wanted to do. It's always been abstract, but it's always been seeable, you know? Like I knew that I wanted to be the talk of the event or whatever it might be. I just wanted to have that excitement behind me. And with that comes the disappointment and the letdown and the blow ups. Like anything can happen. But I just want to know that I have the edge because I did the little bit of extra work that someone else was not willing to do. And I think that's all I have to say about that. I've done all the things that I encourage other people to do. I've done it all. I'm never telling people to do things that I didn't do, you know. And it's cost me a lot over the years to do other hobbies as well. Like when I took fitness seriously, I lost my whole group circle, my friend circle changed. I stopped hanging out with certain people because my lifestyle changed. I used to be a big pothead. I would hang out with different people then. Then as soon as I started taking fitness seriously and guitar seriously, before then, things changed. I started to lose all my social groups when I started taking guitar seriously because I was getting home from work and just 4 hours a day shredding. You don't really have much time to. And if you go out and then go drinking, you're not going to be able to wake up early. So then you have to sacrifice having fun on the weekends. It's just, you have to be willing to make all those sacrifices. And all these top players do it. Maybe Daigo still goes hard in the paint. I'm not sure. But a lot of these guys sacrifice a lot to get to where they want to be. And you have to make sure that you are willing to accept those sacrifices along with having the motivation to do it. And not a lot of people have that. Most people don't have that. And that's okay. Because you could just be a regular player. You could just be a competitor. Or, you know, it's okay to have, I just want to be a strong player. That's fine. But you can't get upset when people are better than you. Or you can't get upset. You expect realistic goals from realistic results. If you're not putting in the extra work, definitely don't exaggerate the amount of work that you're putting in. Know exactly how much work you're putting in. These training sessions that you're having, when you're doing 8 hours at ranked, or and you're not you're leaving with anything in particular, make sure that you realize that you're doing that. And then ask yourself, how much of this do I really deserve? Sorry for stuttering so much. You know, make sure that you've done the work first. If you're not willing to put in that work, you better be ready to take some L's. You should always be ready to take L's, but you want to have as much of an advantage as possible. So here's to another hour. I see a lot of chat going on. Let's see what we got going on over here. Max says that seems like a lot to make sure everything in your life is good and you play super well too that day. Yeah. Like I said, I very rarely had these days where I would go to bed like, yeah, A day. And then even when I would have an A day, sometimes I would spend like an hour on my phone at the end of the day. Like, you just turned into a B plus, you moron. Come on. I compare myself to my friends who are 18 with no job. Like, why are they better than me? I usually start okay, Muck says. By the end, I'm having like an R day. Yeah, I hear you. But yeah, trying to get good with all the other stuff around is hard. I don't know how DDM does it. I wake up at 6 a.m., Mag says. Work 8 to 5, time with the fam from then till 7, gym at 8, then Street Fighter 9:30 till midnight. Damn, you can only squeeze in 2.5 hours, huh? Damn. Okay, I'm going to start trying doing this whole waking up an hour early. Maybe I'll have to go to bed much earlier, but it will be what it will be, or at least adjusting my time better for playing and watching. On that note, people, we don't know how much work the person that you're competing against is doing. Did you guys even know that I used to do that? Does the person I run into in rank 2 thinks that they're better than me? Do they realize how many sacrifices I've made to this day to get good at what I do? Whether or not you think I'm good at the game, whatever it might be. It's not an accident. People put in way more work than you might think, and some people might not put in any work at all. Really ask yourself, are you putting in the work that you think is required to be as good as you think you are? With my schedule, no way I could wake up an hour early and play. Well, I used to get 6 hours of sleep a night, baby. But like I said, my sessions weren't very fruitful, So I have plenty of grind experience, but I could have done a lot better. I started waking up an hour earlier and playing, but I realized I hate playing in the morning and prefer to play at night. Morning, I'm just too much looking at the clock for when it's time for me to leave. It might be time for the come up stack. So does having a family change your approach at training and taking this game to the next level? Well, I don't have kids. Kids are that's when some serious sacrifices are being made, because whenever I have a kid, that's good. That has to be your top priority. I hope. Kids have to be your top priority. That doesn't mean you can't be top level with while having kids, but you just have another priority. People want instant gratification. That's true. I know someone that only says things, never follows through ever. Musty, the more diverse our topics get, the more I started to feel that way, where it's like I knew what I had to do, but I wasn't willing to do it. And I was kind of tired of telling people what they should do as a do as I say, not as I do type. But now I'm making sure I do everything I fucking say that you should do. I mean, there are people who just decide to quit their jobs and backpack across Europe because it's their goal. That sounds kind of fun. Tom Green's doing some like van excursion. Oh, I missed some stuff. Shoot. How much time on average a week would you say it takes to become a little bit too much coffee. Sorry, guys. How much time on average a week would you say it takes to become competitive? Think less about how much time it takes and think more about how productive your time is. There are some people who can do 2 hours a day and their sessions are more productive than your 8-hour grind sessions. If Mag is sitting there 2 hours a day, but he's really hashing out like a particular situation, he might have gotten more out of that 2-hour session than you did beating up 8 Ryu players. It's just what is more important is the quality of your hours, not so much the hours you put in. And the best players will have not only a lot of hours, but also quality hours. So they have both. The top players have both. Not only are their sessions quality, but they're also doing 8-10 hours a fucking day. Like, I met Rich and he's a cutie. Can't stop thinking about that Cody player. Musty Diaper chimes in. Is it important to learn frame data? Yes, because if not, you'll be spending so much time learning particular situations all the time that you don't have to. If you just understand the numbers. So, again, it depends. If you want to be a top level player, it's going to help you a ton to know frame data. You're putting yourself at a huge deficit not doing that. Fighting games pretty much made me stop playing everything else, Mag adds in, and I also agree. Anytime I play something casually, I think, damn, I could be getting better at Street Fighter V. That's so real. Everyone has that problem. I play Chrono Trigger for 2 hours of my week, and I'm like, you want to be the best? What a bitch. Too bad you can't go back in time like in Chrono Trigger, huh? You fucking scrub. So you said you stream full time. I hadn't realized that. I stream now 25 hours a week. So not really. Do I really only? Yeah, 25 hours a week. But I spend time outside of my stream prepping for my stream too. Like yesterday, I wrote that topic for like an hour yesterday. Almost super gold with a 13 win streak. Look at you, young Matt kid. Mad respect, you deserve every bit of glory you attain. Too old for this, says, and I appreciate that a lot. Family, like GF, wife, that kind of stuff. Relationships are very important, and the ones that matter to you the most are the ones that you're going to put time into. And if the relationship doesn't matter to you, then don't put time into it. But if they do matter to you, you better put some fucking time into it and effort. And it's too hard to play during the day with my kids, Meg says, if I want to focus on the game. I can imagine that. Jesus Christ. I got third place in A4 Arena, beat a Ultra Diamond Honda. Nice. Alex Noah says, I'm child free, so I'm not worried about having kids altering my lifestyle. I'd say 14 to 21 hours a week if you train right. I mean, that's such a arbitrary, it's such a, I mean, there's a time I was putting in like 48 hours a week. It'd be like me versus Stack in the gym. Stack seeing gains, I'm hurting myself. Beezer says, okay, cool. I was hoping you'd say that I can usually only get maybe 15 hours a week, sometimes more. Yeah, just plan out. Whenever you have time to actually, if you're not in front of the game, you can actually still sit and plan out what it is that you want to do. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to work on this, and this, and knock out those 5 things. I'm going to work on my option select here. I'm gonna practice this particular jump in on this person. I'm gonna punish this. Whatever problems you're having with, just knock those things out, because you can go through a whole ranked session or battle lounge session and not gain anything from it if you're not paying attention. You can leave a 2-hour battle lounge set with a bunch of different people and leave with nothing. Do you think once Street Fighter V moves from being the competitive game, you'll immediately go to Street Fighter 6? Yes. Every time I get in a training session with Stack, he hears my kids talking in the background. That's for sure. Those little variables running around. And we're married. We don't need to put time in anymore, Musty says. Well, that's not true. You still gotta. You make the little. You got the little joke face. What is that face called? Kappa, right? I'm still not super Twitch savvy. Kappa. Yeah, I just wanted to. I don't think I've covered this topic before, so I just wanted to chime in on that, because if there's anything that I can actually speak on, it's balancing my life and all that stuff. Because as I mentioned before, I was very rigid, and maybe compared to some of you guys, I'm still very rigid. I still wake up when I want to wake up, and I do my homework as much as I can. And this was probably the final step for me, especially with not having work, because when I'm at work, I take that I'm a try-hard sweat lord at work too. You know, people, my coworkers tend to find me annoying because my jobs are never particularly important. You know, I manage a cafe, but you would think that I make more money and that the situation was more dire by how much effort I put into managing a little cafe. And the only reason I do that is because I feel like I'm judged by the product of, you know, by the result of my shift, you know? I judge people by their work ethic and by their, not exactly by what job they have, but how much their work ethic matters, and, you know, like the product of their work. You know, you could be a McDonald's manager or something like that, and if you're hustling and killing it, I think that's what speaks about you more than your salary. Or maybe that's just what us lower mid-class people say to make ourselves feel better. I'm not sure. In any case, I take anything that I do seriously, no matter how trivial it might be to others. I mean, just telling people that, oh, what do you do in your spare time? Oh, I'm a Street Fighter player. And they always think that, a lot of time people think that I'm like into prize fighting. Oh, really? Where do you do that? At my house? Oh, you got a ring in the living room? No, I don't have a ring in the living room. I'm a Street Fighter player. I am a Street Fighter player. Which means that I have to explain to people at some point that, you know, I play video games once they get that. And it's always hard to kind of read the room on that situation. Because, you know, especially at my old job, I would see some very successful people because of the location of my job. I would work at 900 North Michigan. Everyone's a tourist. Everyone's rich over there. So I'm just seeing CEOs and actors and owners and people in like the highest end of retail who are making careers off of selling $10,000 belts, this kind of type of stuff. And they, a lot of those guys, I was able to earn respect because of how much again, like I said, I put so much effort into just managing this cafe that's in the middle of a mall. But I was such a try-hard sweat lord. So I would have to tell people at some point, oh yeah, I'm a competitive Street Fighter player. And, you know, you just have to accept that a lot of people picture you just, I don't know what they picture. You know, you're like, you have a belly covered in Doritos. This is what they picture you like. You get home from your cafe job and you're just a fucking loser, you know? It's just what it is. It's just what it is. People are gonna assume because I mean people don't know. That's the thing. People don't know what fighting games are these days, and why should they? Most people watch or even think about fighting games. They're like, talking about like Mortal Kombat, like Fatality, Kill. I don't know, because no one ever knows what I'm talking about. But I will say that I've had customers and coworkers asking for my Twitch information, and I wonder if these guys ever actually come in. Probably not, but I hope they get like a slightly different perspective of that. I struggle with wake spots. With opponents. I get these guys who will wake up EXDP, and then after I am cautious, and the dude will literally wake up jab the rest of the game, sitting on a ton of meter, and I keep delaying my meteors, and it costs me. How do you approach this? Idom said it best. He said something to the effect of only be afraid of what you're seeing. So if you're only seeing one EXDP over 6 wake up scenarios, how afraid of that wake up EXDP should you be anymore? Just keep note of how often these things are actually happening. If they did EXDP once in a set of 3, at some point you have to not be worried about that anymore and just go based off the results of what you're seeing. And it's kind of hard to tell what situations you're talking about exactly too. Like what's the health situation, what's the screen position situation, the stun. I can't see those things on the screen right now, but those all have an effect, of course. The question is, when are they going to EXTP? Depends on how close of attention your opponent is playing. You know, are they close to stun? They might do it then, but they might not do it then. That has to be determined by the momentum of the game. But you can't be afraid of things that your opponent's not doing. Specifically the first time, well then, I mean, at some point it's a call, you know? It's just a call. You can't guess right every time. But can you take the EXDP? Then take it. What is the best way to bait an EXDP? I don't really think about baiting DPs as much as I think about reading DPs and then finding the safest option to circumnavigate it, which is like a really small delayed crouch medium punch. It usually covers it. So I don't have to read a whole lot of the time. If I sense that an EXDP would be plausible here, I'll do a delay or I'll block. But you have to be asking yourself too, am I willing to take this EXDP? What happens if I eat an EXDP right now? Big fucking whoop. Sometimes. It could kill you sometimes. But if it's not going to kill you, well, they just spent a meter, big risk. So who knows? If you're like full health, I would take the EXDP.